start. This is how we start. So toxic is what? That's a bad
It
thing?
just needs to be renamed because toxic, this masculinity, toxic, femininity, like all this, it already has somebody thinking it's going to be this or that. Oh, I already know what we're talking about. And it has nothing to do with that. It's just one extreme of the one
Alright,
extreme and
alright,
the other. That's
alright,
it. It's
alright. Tell me,
distorted.
ladies and gentlemen, tell me if in your journey the gift isn't in the patience.
Of course.
Okay. So if you're not willing to sit through this podcast and get through to the root of what we're talking about, then this isn't for you.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with the audience listening. I'm just saying
I'm just saying, yeah.
overall.
You're saying if somebody's triggered by the word toxic, they may turn us off
No, it
and move
has
on to the
not
next
even,
thing.
it has nothing to do with triggering anybody in the audience. All I'm saying is that for me, myself, and I'm going to start looking at toxic masculinity as just really misaligned, doesn't misguided, it's just something.
So
It's the opposite. It's basically not in the right polarity that it's supposed to be in. It's misaligned.
you're
It's
taking
distorted.
you're taking the magic.
I'm using synonyms basically. I'm tired of toxic.
Right, but I mean toxic in the wizardry of words, the power of words that has power, and you want to shift that power. Is that
However you want to take
okay?
it.
Let's go with that.
Let's go.
What's up, man?
What's going on,
It can go
y'all?
on forever and ever.
I was enjoying watching. I was about to get some popcorn ready. This is good. I would say this, just to piggyback off of that and dive even deeper into the idea of changing it from toxic masculinity to something else. Toxic is something that is poison. It's something that is not supposed to be associated with, or I should say, you said exploited, which is definitely true, but exploited in a negative context. Do you not feel that toxic masculinity has negative connotations attached to it?
Of course. And this is how I'll put it to you. There's that pH balance, right? And the acidity. And we all know that too much acidity can cause detriment, and too much of anything can be bad. So
Yeah.
this toxic is toxicity, right? It just needs to be removed. Things that are not in alignment, things that are blocked, things that are on the negative side of the spectrum. So of course, toxic equals then that negative side of the spectrum when they are in their negative. But that negative ranges in so many different words because it's not just, we all know it's not just one or two. It's an aspect of 12. I mean, if you wanted to really, really get into it. I mean,
If you really want to break it down, it's a science, man.
Right.
Continue.
Right.
I mean, it's the positive and the negative. I mean, yes, it is both positive and negative, and we have to align in a way, right? Because we all have the male and female aspects within us. But when we're talking about this energy, specifically the male energy, we're talking about getting it balanced because toxic would be it's out of balance. It's in the negative.
Right.
Can that be changed? Yes. So if we just put toxic as the word to define that, is it ever going to change?
I think it depends on the
Am I right?
perspective.
No, I love
No,
it.
I mean, look, this is a diet and fitness podcast, right? So if we're talking about toxic food, I would not want to change that name because I think when you hear toxic, you want to get as far away from it as possible. You know what I'm saying? And I think toxic masculinity, specifically in our society, is a problem mainly because the patriarchy and the quote unquote masculine dominance of society has really caused an altered view on what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? So I think toxic adds a little bit of panache to the topic. Misaligned masculinity is kind of, it's kind of a feminine touch to toxic masculinity.
And that's the thing, because when you just said that you would stay away from it, so I picture a little boy being abandoned, and therefore now he's not dealing with his emotions and becomes more toxic as a adult. So then is that really the way to beat masculine with more masculine by going away, or do we mother that, right? Do we bring in that feminine aspect to it and change the word toxic, so that it can level up, it can not be toxic, so that as a collective we can move on from toxic collective negativity and start affirming something better. It doesn't have to be on the total opposite end of the spectrum, but we can say something that's not toxic. That's all I was
I hear
thinking.
you. I hear you. Interesting. Interesting.
Funny how I could just turn into something like totally different.
Well, it's funny. It's just funny because like I think I started hearing the word toxic masculinity only like a few years ago. Like this is kind of a new thing or whatever. But the idea of it and the concept of it has been around shit forever. I mean, we grew up that way, right? And I think more people are tapping into their feminine side now, even though they don't understand they're doing that. But I think we're going in the right direction. I think sometimes we take it too far, but I think, and I know you're going to touch on this, Joanna. I think where people get confused, and I shouldn't even say confused, where people have a little bit of ignorance, and not to their own fault, just based on education and experience or whatnot. They don't realize that we have both masculine and feminine energy. So when somebody talks about something being feminine, they automatically associate it with the woman. If they talk about something masculine, they automatically associate it with the man. And I think if we understood the balance, the duality of those two things, I think we'd all be better off because we'd understand our emotions better. We'd understand how we react to things better. We'd understand our relationships better and all those different things.
Yes, and it wasn't until like I've always understood that there's obviously growing up Spanish, you have la and it, you have it in when you talk about something. El
Should
árbol
I, I'm going through that
is
now,
a
trying to
man
learn Spanish.
because you know what I mean. So we understand that el sol, the sun, is male and la luna is female, and so it's kind of ingrained. But it wasn't really until what, a few years ago maybe, that we really started understanding the concept of kind of with syncretism, but more so the last few years with relationships when it comes to the sun and the moon and the female aspect and the male aspect and the whole, you've brought up that book on here, right? The Way of the Superior Man.
May have came up a time or two.
Yeah, and how that talks a lot about the masculine and female aspects within us. But it wasn't until recently about the sun and the moon that I brought that up to you, and everything kind of changed.
Well,
Do you
no,
want to talk
I
about
mean,
that?
in my masculine and feminine journey, so kind of give you some history of me. Like if you grew up with a, I don't know, maybe an emotionally, slightly physically abusive father, that is the definition of toxic masculinity, right? Like it is the expression of power through dominance of something weaker than you, and that's the worst form of it. Like you know what I mean? Like you got to be really low in terms of your energy level to express yourself self righteously in that way. And so to me that's what toxic masculinity is. So growing up into that and having a situation where the man of the house was highly emotional, expressed himself, let himself go. There were it was always the finger pointed the other way. And I say that tongue in cheek a little bit, but that's kind of what I grew up with. And you combine that with my astrology lovers, right? Like my moon's in Pisces, man. I'm already like gravitating towards emotion and towards femininity. And I meet her and she's a representation of a Leo, right? Has, issues with the kind of father issues and things like that. So she's operating much more in her masculine, right? So, you have this song and dance, not understanding that your roles that each of you are playing are opposite. I needed to step into my masculine. She needed to step into her feminine. But here's the fucking kicker. And I used to, our whole relationship up until recently, bro, people would say happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck that. That's stupid. And then I was like, oh, there's some truth to that. Oh, there's a lot of truth to that. But now it's like, happy wife, happy life. Happy, if your wife is happy, it's because you're operating in the highest form of your masculinity, right? Because when you do that, it allows her to operate in the highest form of her femininity. Now you're always going to shift. You're always going to dance. You know what I mean? Like she's going to fall into it. I'm going to fall out of it. But I think what I learned with understanding masculinity is that if my woman is behaving in a way that I'm not enjoying, it is on me. And I have the power to flip that script if I understand what true masculinity is, because that's our power. We are the sun. We are fixed. We are constant. She's all over the fucking place, bro. She just needs that consistency, that light always there 24/7. And that's all our job is. And everything else falls into place, right?
Right, because the moon's going to be phasing every 2 days, just like our moods, back and forth, back and forth. And for a long time, if I would get into a mood suddenly, he'd match me with that mood. And it's like, that's not what I need right now. I need you to hold space. But it's like, how could I ever have him, how could he ever hold space if I'm needing to hold space for myself? And so it wasn't until understanding that whole sun and moon concept of study, 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 constantly 30 days, study, study, versus the moon cycle, which is, you know, shedding. Right now we're in a waning moon, and things are shedding. And it's funny that on the day that we do this, hours before we do this, the universe goes, hey, we wanted to give you a little big shock for 2 months and see what you would think if you didn't have your menstrual cycle. Roller coaster ride. Because I'm over here like, am I pregnant? Are we having a baby? Am I going through menopause? Is this the beginning of menopause? Like, I'm in the middle here, like not understanding as a woman what is going on. Like, I feel less of I guess not less of a woman. I don't want to say that, but like something was missing, when it wasn't here, like what's going on. And then today, out of all days, it comes and it's savage. And it's like everything that we didn't give you for the last 2 months, we're going to just throw it at you all at once. And I'm like sitting here on Authenticate Yourself podcast, trying like for real, being real with a heating pad on, because I'm going through the pain and this is what really happens. And I started thinking, this is the truth of it. We go through this pain. It's kind of like giving birth. It's like you just have to sit there and go through it. Like, I don't take anything. I don't, my daughter's like, you want Midol? I'm like, no, I don't take that. I sit through the pain. I sit through what is it teaching me? Like, what is this pain trying to show me? What part of my journey am I in that I need to like consider and focus on and all this stuff? It really makes you sit there and just shed who you once were. Like, I know that I have changed a lot since 2 months ago and I'm having to embody this new person. So I feel like, okay, I'm in pain and I'm birthing something new. And the best thing to do when you're doing that is create. And so we're creating a podcast, which means I am letting out whatever needs to be transmuted onto here. And I guess that's my role, as the feminine side of this trio right now, So
For sure. Now, when you look at what to even go even deeper with, your menstrual cycle, because we're going to talk about that a little bit. Let's dive into your menstrual cycle. Is that, and I implore people to understand that everything that happens to your body is a manifestation of what's going on inside. So you talked about it's been 2 months or whatnot. So it's like everything was held and built up and then flushed out, right? That is a culmination of obviously, the energetic side, the emotions, trauma, things of that nature, but also from the physical side, any type of toxicity as well. Your body is going to utilize that channel to push out everything it possibly can. And now that it's been 2 months, that's just double the amount. And I know that you've been making some changes in your
big
life
ones.
as well. Yeah. from a health standpoint. So it's going to help push that out as well. So that all that culmination is manifested into what you're dealing with at this moment.
Right.
So
And then
everybody out there, like if you're having menstrual cycles that are painful, that are heavy, things of that nature, it's just a manifestation of what you're holding inside physically, emotionally, and psychologically. All that is going to come out at that time.
and certain cycles that the moon are that if you're in alignment, certain cycles that the moon that you're in, when you get your period, signify certain things. And it's funny because I'm going through this like phase of from motherhood to grandmother, to the wiser woman that now has a grandchild coming in a month. You know what I mean? Like
That's what's
it's a
up.
total different person. It's a totally different phase. And also like I'm almost on writing my book, the healing, the healing book. And so I'm in this big, huge kind of peak of healing. And I feel like this entire 2 months has been like a big reset of diving deeper into my healing and having this huge reset. So I've been like waiting. I was like, as soon as I felt it, I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. And then I'm like, oh, there you are. Okay.
And my favorite thing about everything you just said was the fact that you're sitting through the pain, right? Like we've been, we've been mind fucked in a lot of ways to hide from pain, to run from pain, to take, any little hint of pain, pop a pill, do this, drink alcohol, walk away from the pain, get away from the pain. But whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical, there's no growth without pain. You're probably the times that you have changed the most is when you went through the most pain. And so when you mask the pain, you limit the opportunity for growth because you're like expansion into the pain also fuels your expansion into the healing, right?
Yes.
And that shit, we the pain. Yo, use your intuition. You under pain. I'm not talking about 10 level pain. You're gonna die. But the,
Right.
the type of pain that, if you got chronic pain, make a change. It's there for a reason. It's there. It's speaking to you, right? Emotionally, physically, spiritually, it's speaking to you. Listen, don't mute it. It's like a
Well,
child,
well,
right?
and not to mention, especially with the female aspect, like I was very much in my masculine. I have been very much in my masculine,
You're welcome.
as far as acting, taking action, and just I'll handle it. I'll do it myself. Coming down to like I'll open the door myself. I don't need you to open the door because what am I gonna wait for you to open the door? Like I'll just do it myself. And a little bit of Leo in that, but let's just keep it real. I was very masculine, and then he started being more in his masculine, which allowed me to be more in my feminine, to the point where it's like I can wait 1 second so that he can open the door for me because I'm not even giving him a chance to do that,
Right.
but he was also not even taking initiative. So it was like this cycle of, but then it became like an ego cycle anyway. So the point is that I've been more on my feminine kick. And so sitting through the pain, like you said, is me resting and facing the shadows, facing the fears, facing like, okay, what is this? What am I shedding? What am I letting go of? What am I forgiving? Like I'm crying. I'm
And
like,
what's to
what the
come?
fuck?
And what's to come? Because it's all happening for something else to
Like
fall
our
into
our
place.
son is moving away like this week, like in a few days, and I broke down crying then, and it's like there's just a lot happening. And when you go from one phase to another, like your body changes with it, and
Well, too, like I want to touch on something that you just said that it does not matter in couples and relationships. Let's get on this relationship, feminine, masculine kick real quick. Like I can make a change and I can take responsibility for making that change. But I think one of the biggest mistakes we make when we make changes is expecting others to recognize the change within us. And that is, I think, a huge mistake. Like, understand that the person that you're changing for, or the behavior that you're changing, and the person that it affects, they've probably endured that behavior for a very long fucking time, right? And in doing so, they see you as that behavior. That is who you are. You don't owe it to them to change, you owe it to yourself, but give them a little bit of grace and the fact that you helped build that reaction, right? And on the flip side of that, as the other person, understand that they're trying to be different And you need to be willing to change your mentality of them in order to fuel and help this growth. You feel me? Like we have to take the responsibility on both sides and we have to have grace for one another because it's so easy, I think, when you're working hard to change and the other person doesn't see it in you, then you immediately maybe fall back, maybe you lash out. So you take these steps forward only to take 6 steps back, right? Y'all feel, like, feel
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure,
Man,
for
whatever,
sure. I
man.
think what most
I get it.
you get what?
I get what I'm saying.
We
Oh,
get
I
what
get
you're
it. Yeah,
saying
we get it,
too. It's
brother.
just deep, and so you have to like download and then process and all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, from a relationship standpoint, I mean, I think the majority of people don't even like understand the balance of the masculine and the feminine within the relationship and how that can be dictating the direction it's going, you know, some of the issues that you're having. Because what I think, especially because if you were to survey 100 couples, you know, what's the number one thing that's a problem within your relationship? They probably say communication, right? And communication goes right into the masculine and feminine because if you got, you know, just to use you guys, you know, you have the male who is coming into the relationship a little bit more higher on the feminine side, less on the masculine, and then the female on the opposite, and they both are looking for that balance, but yet they don't realize it and they're not communicating about it, then it's just going to be a constant struggle and each one's not going to realize why these situations are coming up, why, you know, they're
Right.
arguing about certain things, why, you know, she's expecting, you know, not necessarily expecting, but subconsciously expecting, you know, him to take control of a certain situation while he's like, I just can't do anything right, you know, this, that, and the other. And it all stems from not understanding where they are in this duality and not even understanding their own, you know, their own self.
And that it's coming from some trauma that stemmed from either their mother or their father, which again comes from male or female trauma. So
Even past lives, you know what I'm
true
saying? Like,
that.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean? Because I mean, like for me, I know for me, after reading the book, The Way of the Superior Man, like I look like at my relationship completely different, like completely different because I know that I am passive by nature. I'm just a passive person by nature. I'm not aggressive. I'm not. I don't like altercation. I'm always thinking what you're thinking before I make a decision or anything like that. And I'm with somebody who wants the masculine. You know what I'm saying? She wants the person to take charge. Just make a fucking decision. I don't care what the decision, just make the decision and I'm cool with it. And when I started understanding that and acting in that way and I saw the repercussions of it, I was like, holy shit. That's all it is. You know what
Just
I
make a
mean?
fucking decision. Like, why is it
Yeah,
so
like is that
fucking hard?
it?
You want to argue for 30 minutes and then make memes about how we can't decide? We're not
Right.
supposed to decide.
Right. I mean, simple shit like that, and you know, and it goes in almost
Unless we
every
decide.
aspect. You know what I'm saying? Aspect of life, and it's not that they don't want to be heard. It's not that the feminine doesn't want to be heard. It's
Right.
more along the lines of we're yearning for someone to just
Take care of
be the
it. Like,
yin
they
to our
take care of
yang. You know what I'm
us.
saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's really interesting shit.
dude, and you know, talk about communication. If there's a communication problem, I guarantee you, it's not the dude bitching about the communication. It's probably her, right?
Right. Yeah,
Right.
and more
And
often than
you
not,
know,
yeah.
if that's what's happening in your relationship, you as the man, in my opinion, are responsible for that because that in and of itself is a cry for help, right? It's a I need you to fix something. If you're not listening, if she's saying you're not listening to me, what she really means, back me up, is that she doesn't feel as if she's important to you. She's feeling like she's not high up on your pedestal, that other things are more important. Or she's requesting you to level the fuck up and you refuse to because you're happy being where you are.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you got a girl that expects you to level up, it's because she loves you, man. It's not because she's a bitch. It's not because she's getting on your nerves and she's trying to be your mama. It's because she's
Right.
asking you to be the king that she knows you could be because she chose you. And you need to respect that in your non delusional, non
What?
Non-dilute. What was the word? What would you call it? What was the fufu word we used?
Oh,
The
distorted.
Non-alignment or something.
distorted
Distorted.
and the non-distorted masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Like like I've learned very quickly. Like, bro, I remember, like, yo, she got on me. You know this. She got on me about video games and shit. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna stop playing video games.
Right.
Immediate shit. I said, shit, what I'm gonna do now that I'm not playing video games? Like, normally she take an hour to get ready because it can be 10 minutes or it could be an hour.
Right.
You never know. It's hit or
It could
miss.
be first
What I'm gonna do?
quarter, halftime.
What am I gonna do, man? In that time, because usually I be college footballing it up.
Right.
I said, shit, what I'm gonna do now? And I remembered she's always been like, can you just stand with me or stay with me while I do my makeup? I'm like, all right, I'm gonna experiment, right? I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna give her my full attention and see what happens. Holy shit, bro. Like, you would have thought I gave her diamonds. I mean, just the energetic exchange that was happening as a result of that. And then that opened me up to, okay, I'm gonna experiment with something else. And I just started fucking trying shit. You know what I mean? And understanding that exactly that again, she
I
I
remember because I felt it energetically, and I was like, and I looked at you, and you're like, "What?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, like what you said, like understanding that taking control isn't about, again, it's not about being aggressive. It's just you are the son. I'm making the decision. If she has feedback, you will accept it and you will have a conversation and you'll move on. And there's some times when you just go, no, this is what we're gonna do and we're gonna do it. Whatever. But the point is that you as the masculine, you are the one that are setting the table for your woman to allow her to be expressive. Because guess what, bro? She's gonna be in the 28th day or the 27th day or the 21st fucking day, no matter what you do. So you might as well ride that wave and use that energy to your benefit. Because again, like women, we're watching. You ever see that movie Overboard with Goldie Hawn where she falls off a boat?
Shit. That's an old one, bro.
Old as
Nah.
fuck. But you know what
Yeah.
was cool? The homeboy lived in a
Goldie
house that
Hawn.
was dirty as fuck. It was a
Yeah.
piece of shit, right? He finds her. She comes in. Next thing you know, there's eggs. The refrigerator's perfectly aligned. The home is perfectly clean because women create. Their creative energy, right? And we as a masculine, that's all we're there for is to amplify that creative energy because when we do, it amplifies us back. And that's the fucking power in it, man. And that's why you need to be listening to this shit and taking some fucking notes and practicing this shit in your relationship. Because if you don't get it, it'll change your fucking shit.
Okay, so give him an example. Can I give him an example?
Please.
Because it's broad, but like I feel like examples would help. Like the other day, I was uncomfortable. I was emotional, and normally, if I feel uncomfortable and emotional,
Oh yeah, this is good.
the
I
first
was
thing
masculine as fuck,
the
bro.
first thing I want to do is walk away, and they know that I want to just like walk away and either be mad or cry it out or whatever. And I had to tell myself like 3 or 4 times, stay right there, like just stand there, like take it, like just like you going through the pain, just take it. And I'm like, okay, like basically feel it. Don't run away from this feeling. The second he moved, that it looked like he was walking away, I turned around and he goes, no, hold up, hold up. Are you walking away from your emotions? Come back, come back. And then he just stood there and then he hugged me and I bursted out crying. I was like, I was just tears everywhere. So he was able to just like hold space, take the decision of like, come here, I'm here for you, let it out. And then, I was healing because I was also having like flashbacks of things that had happened in our relationship over like 20 years ago. And when they're coming up to the surface and I'm crying even more, I know I'm healing from that. And so that was a very healing moment just from him standing there and taking that power back and just going, come here, I'm going to take care of you. So that's a good example.
Yeah, and what a waste of time that I spent 20, I don't know, ish years reacting to that bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she would get that way, and I'd be like, "Why are you being that way?" And then she's like, "What are you stupid?" Like, I'm not the way because I'm dealing with some shit. Like, I've been with you 20 years and you don't know me by now, right? Like, that's the type. I mean, really. And so it's like just that little decision to just recognize and hold space, man. It changes everything. But you got to be comfortable with you, and I wasn't comfortable with me for a long motherfucking time, right? And nobody can fix that. But you,
And the ego, man. You gotta have control of the ego because the first thing you want to do is react. You know what I'm saying? And understanding, I think that's a tough thing is to understand that we're not the same. And our first, if the ego's not in check, the first thing you're going to do when something's going on that, might not, align with your way of thinking in that moment is to react. And if you fall victim to reacting, that's where a lot of the things end up blowing up into bigger arguments or whatever the case may be. But holding space is huge. I mean, if you look at it like, look, the feminine is flowing as water. It's changing all the time. That's why a woman's mind can change in a fucking snap of a finger, and then the masculine is the steady. It's like the rock. It's like land versus water, right? So the water is always changing. It's never in the same space. It's never in the ever the same. It's always changing. So yeah, just understanding that is huge, huge because women change, man. They change quickly.
yeah, you just gotta roll with it.
Just gotta
And
roll
it's
with
something
it and
so
understand
simple.
it and not get
It's
defensive.
simple, but yet look at how long it took us to understand this. Like, I mean, years of
Well, it's not
fights
taught.
and
I mean, these things aren't taught anywhere. Like if I
right.
I'll be honest, if I didn't
No.
read that book, I mean, I would. I mean, I knew concepts and understood it, but I didn't. That was like an eye opener on how a relationship works, how the duality of a relationship works, and I never heard no shit like that before.
Bro, like I haven't, I have temper issues, had temper issues, and I haven't lost my shit in a long time because it's I don't have any reason to. Like I was telling her the other night, I'm like, why the fuck would I ever spend so much time arguing with you? Like what a fucking waste of time,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But anyway, she comes in, she's like, "Yo, can you help me do the dishes?" And I'm like, "All right, cool." And I go over and start doing the dishes, and I turn around and she's walked off, and the door slams, and I'm like, "The fuck." Like this is some bullshit. Like I immediately something snapped in me in that moment, man. And in that moment, all the programming, right? All the habits, all the things that you grew up with, all the trauma, in that moment, it's like it amplifies you to push you to be that person again, you know? And I think it's important. Like I think I did a talk, like we did some shit on Akasha about the gap, right? And it's like you brought that
I
shit
still
up
use that shit, bro.
because like that moment when you want to just fucking amp or you want to say or twist the knife, we all have our angles, right? Like that is the moment where if you just hold on, you know what I'm saying? If you just stay disciplined and don't react and breathe through it, it just fucking goes away like a fart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so pungent and nasty, but then, after 30 seconds, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, it's gone, right?
Yep.
And then you're able, to return to some sort of normalcy, and you approach the situation much better, and you just avoided 6 hours of bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
The
Over
gap shit's
over
real, bro.
15 seconds of breathing, of that gap.
But see, that's that yin and yang. That's that balance. You can't you reacting is masculine, right? Overreacting is that toxic part, right? But there's the feminine side, right? Which is you have to breathe, you have to relax, you have to lower be in the middle. And in the middle is where you find, the other side. That's where you guys meet in the middle. That's why in a relationship you realize for so long that like you're butting heads because just like a remote, think about the remote and the batteries in there. It's not going to work. It's not going to have any fucking power until you put the positive and where it goes and the negative where it goes. And they're always opposite. Then you have power. But you have to have that positive and negative in order for it to work. And so you have to have that positive and negative. And I wasn't in aligned with my own positive and negative. He wasn't aligned. So it wasn't until we both became aligned and had the positive and negative going in the right way, we had then the power to connect, the power to make a difference, the power to realize all these things, but you got to align yourself first. And that's tricky.
That's key because I think a lot of people listening might like I don't want anyone to get confused and think that the positive and negative is within the relationship. Like if you have somebody who's extremely masculine and someone who's extremely feminine, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
Right.
yourself. Like
Right.
you have to have that balance. or else there's just going to be, because you see those relationships all the time. You got the super dominant man and the extremely submissive woman, and usually those end up in some really tough situations,
Right.
or
I mean,
even opposite. You know,
overall, it's just that nice balance. It's all about balance, really.
for
Yeah,
sure.
and I think too from a physical standpoint, because I think that's a lot of, well, emotionally too, but I think when people think toxic masculinity, they think abusive, right? Like somebody, putting their hands on a woman, hitting a woman, what have you. But like that only orchestrates and illustrates to me like the exact opposite of what we're talking about, which is, pure masculinity is a man that understands his strength would never use his strength irresponsibly, right? Like if I'm hitting a woman, it's because I need to feel as if I'm powerful and I'm in control. Because anything other than that is toxic, and that's what that is. It's a toxic misuse of your power and your strength. Because the truth is that I would never hit my woman, because why would I do that? There's no point in that. Right?
Right.
Like, I am strong in there. I don't need to prove that to myself. She doesn't need to understand that. She understands that. Right? Like, you show your woman how strong you are in the fucking bedroom, man, not with your hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the appropriate, like,
Or how strong you are
illustration.
by overcoming my emotions and being able to
Correct.
stand
Right.
still and take it, just and know that it's going to pass, and not take it personal, right? And think,
Right.
oh, I'm not good enough, or all the things that men end up men and women, end up thinking about themselves, just the ego that starts to talk and says, you're not this, you're not that. But instead, it's like, no, I'm just like letting me vent, just let me vent and be there for me and don't take it personal.
Yeah, and it's like shout out to Goggins, stay hard, right? Like that's where it's at, right? Like the more you push, not the more you push me, but the more you expect more out of me. I look at it like a test, right? If ever there's a moment where she's acting up, I'm going, all right, what's really going on? I'm not taking that shit personal. I'm like, does she need space? Have I fucked up? Am I being in my feminine when I need to be a little bit more masculine? So it's just it's like a game. It's just a signal, man. That's all it is. And once you do that and you show her, because she will test you. She will test your resolve. She will test your ability to stay calm, your ability to stay cool, because she needs to know and understand that you are steady, that you are the sun, the rock, the land,
Yep.
the earth. You are immovable. But if you haven't shown her that, expect to be tested, man. But that's just part of the journey, and accept it for what it is. But when you pass the test, yo, tell them, RL. Tell them what happens. Only good things, man.
Only good
Only good
things.
things happen.
I'm glad you brought up that test because yeah, I mean that's because I mean how many times have, and I'm speaking to you guys out there, like have you been in a situation to where your partner will be upset because something didn't happen or you didn't do a certain something, and then you start to do that something and it doesn't fix the issue because they're just testing you to see your resolve, to see if you're standing firm and whatnot. And then in addition to that, like being the, when we're talking about tapping into your masculine side, there's an aspect of becoming who you like, be like stepping into your power that is very intoxicating for a female or the feminine. Seeing you take charge, seeing you take control of situations, seeing you have passions and following those passions. Because at the end of the day, as much as your woman wants to be around you or be with you, they want you, they don't want you to be 100% only into them. They want to see you strive for more. They want to see you become the best version of yourself. And that is extremely, extremely intoxicating to the feminine as well.
On a
Bro,
very subconscious level.
and bro, can I please, like, understand this, fellas? We talked about bodybuilding, right? Like, if your woman can't get on you about something without you losing your shit, and then you want to go to the gym, come home, and talk about you benched 300 pounds, you know what she's really thinking? Motherfucker, you ain't got the strength to even control yourself. You can't even handle my feminine. You think I give a fuck what you bench? Right?
Right.
She don't give a fuck because you're not operating, and you're overcompensating, right? You're moving into a space of, I need to be able to display physical strength, but in the moment You're not there to display that emotional and spiritual strength that she needs from you. And that's like, why she give a fuck what you bench if you
Yeah,
can't hold that
man.
space, right? Because that's
Yeah.
really what's important.
Dudes be benching for other dudes. You know what I'm saying? And they be putting all them numbers out there for other dudes. They ain't, I don't think females really give a fuck about that.
Oh my
Not
God.
at all.
Look,
Not at
we
all.
were out, we were having coffee, and after 20, what, 8 years of being together, he's always telling me about his gym stories, right? And I was like, babe, stop, just stop her here. I was like, and they finally, I don't know what took me so long. Next time you want to tell me about your gym story, can you take out what the movements were and the rounds and how many? Like, you got me over here trying to do math and trying to think of what this CrossFit word is that represents something, like as if I know what these things
Right,
mean.
right, right.
And I'm like, it would save me the trouble. I would actually be more into your story if I knew the purpose and you just got into it versus all this stuff. Because now I don't want to hear it anymore because my brain is just fried from like the logistics of it. Like,
Yeah.
just tell me. And so we started practicing, and he's like, "How about like this?" And I'm like, well, "What the fuck is that? What'd you say? Am's best or something?"
Or AMREP, some
I don't
shit.
know. Whatever. The point is, I should have said this a lot sooner, and we would have saved a lot of time. But
I would have felt heard. She would have felt like she understood. It
Right,
would have been a
right,
match made in heaven.
right. That's funny. But that's where the communication comes in. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Because a lot of
yeah,
times that particular scenario, like communication would have never happened, and you would have just went on absorbing what he's talking about. He would have went on spewing that shit, and it would have been like there'd be no connection with it.
Right.
You
It'd
yeah.
know
be
what I'm
like,
saying?
oh, another one of his stupid stories. I
And it's
gotta
Right,
like,
listen
look,
through
I
this
want to
shit.
be into it, but you're frying my brain. Like, just
right.
simmer down a little bit.
Simmer down.
Bro,
Yeah, 100%.
there was I'm going through, growth. We're all trying.
For sure.
But there was a moment she looked at me. She goes, "You know what? You know what stories I never hear? I don't ever hear you tell me in a spiritual or emotional story. All I hear is this fucking workout stories. Do you have any spiritual or emotional breakthroughs you want to talk to me about?" I said, "All right, bet." So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna work on some shit so I can have some emotional and spiritual stories. Because the funny part of that story is if you don't put in the work, you don't get no return, right? So how can I tell a story if I'm not putting in the work? But yeah, I started putting in the work and I had some stories, and then that shit changed too. So she became more open to hearing
Yeah.
the workout stories because she also got some sprinkle of emotional and spiritual story.
That's big because like I know for me, and I feel very comfortable speaking for a lot of men who've grown up in this society. Like it's very difficult to share those types of stories with females, like the emotional side and stuff like that, because we've just been taught not to share shit like that. We've been taught not to cry in front of females, to not show pain, to always be a certain way, and all these different things. So like I think our default go-to is success stories that have to do with ego type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, I won this, I made this much money, I, accomplished this, but not really give them the deep rooted spiritual stories, emotional stories, and shit like that. And I think if
So how do you
we,
process it?
that's most of us don't. Most men don't. They suppress that shit.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, let's look at our retreats, right? We host retreats, right? How many men come? Not many, right? Majority, probably what, 80 to 85% have been women. Because actually more than that, probably 90% women.
Yeah,
Because
90.
men suppress that shit, right? And not to mention that there's just been this toxic masculinity aspect to it that men don't show their emotions. Men don't meditate. Men don't go to therapy. Men aren't depressed. They don't deal with mental health issues. All these different stigmas that are attached to men, to boys, that have caused us to be a population of individuals that suppress shit and then wonder why we have anger issues or wonder why we can't understand our women or we beat on women and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, because
you know,
Yeah, because we put our pain in performance. We put our pain
Yeah.
in goal setting and what can I achieve? What can I gain? Right?
Right.
Instead of, putting it into our emotional space and taking time to heal that.
But the kicker is it's glorified. Because if you look at, okay, what is the one activity in this world that is completely associated with men? Sports, right? And what do you hear about the athlete all the time? Oh, they went through this and this, but they used it as motivation to become the best that they could possibly be, right? They didn't deal with that shit. That shit didn't go nowhere. Just because they won the championship don't mean that pain's gone. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's what it's associated with. And that's the real disconnect with men when it comes to understanding like how important, because I think it's on men way more than it's on women. I mean, obviously women have to understand their masculinity as well, but I think it's way more on men to tap into their femininity for us as like a human race to start striving and moving forward. That's why we got so many fucked up
Yeah.
things going on right now.
Well, bro, and it's what's the movie? What's the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal where he's a boxer
Roadhouse.
and
No,
nah, he's
Southpaw. Southpaw.
Southpaw.
Southpaw.
Man, that
Perfect
movie was
fucking example,
fan
right?
fucking tastic. Sorry.
Perfect fucking example of a guy walking out of a situation, his woman recognizing that he needs to step away from that situation. Metaphorically, you can look at that as occurring within you, right? The voice, the gap occurs. Hey, don't do this. Hey, come back. Like
Your intuition.
that masculinity is becoming toxic. Retreat. Like it's not worth it. But
Right.
what did he do? He
But
dug
don't
in.
ruin it.
Yeah, he dug into his masculinity, and I'm not gonna ruin it if you didn't see the movie, but it cost him a lot. It cost him his entire life, right?
Yeah.
His way
To
of life, I should say.
just showcase my femininity. I ain't gonna lie, I cried in that movie like a motherfucker. I was in the theater like this. Damn.
Good, good,
That's a
good.
good ass
You
movie.
you needed to, man, because
Yeah.
yo, bro, that's something that I'm as I get older, I'm becoming more passionate about is men, being men. Men being and it's like you can't even say that shit these days because of that. And I've tried so hard not to touch this subject, but I feel like it needs to be said. Like, bro, in relationships, penis, vagina, vagina, penis doesn't matter, right? You just whoever you are, whatever you represent, that's what you represent, right? You feel me? I don't really. That's all I really want to say about that. But I felt like I needed to say that shit. Like what I'm talking about. Like in relationships of because gender and bigender and transgender, all this stuff
Right.
comes up, man. But
Yeah.
it's like this is energy we're talking about.
Right.
Right.
This is
Right.
It's not
energy.
biology.
It's not
Is
biology. Like don't get this.
No.
Don't get
No.
stuck on the bullshit. Like this is
No. It's just
energy.
and this
energy.
is what is hard to understand when we say like the masculine or the feminine, the masculine and the feminine. We keep saying that, but without like really giving examples of it. So that's what's hard, right? So for example, we're driving in downtown here, downtown Apex. It's a small little town, and there's little stores everywhere, little coffee shops, etc. We're wanting to go to the coffee shop that's right there. In my mind, I'm going, the parking angels got me. Like if a car gets out right in front of the place, we're meant to go there. And boom, what's happening? A car is like getting out. It's already putting its signals, etc.
Meanwhile, I've got plans. If A doesn't happen, B doesn't happen, C doesn't happen, D doesn't happen, I got a plan, right?
And
Right.
he's also a people pleaser and he's trying to please the car behind us by going, I don't have time to wait. Like, let me just go. And I'm like, it's a small town. This is what you do. You wait for the car and the car waits for you to park because what else can you do? Like, everybody understands. So I'm having to calm him down, like, because he's ready to go. And I'm like, well, you're not going to ruin this experience. Like, the freaking parking angel gave us a spot. It's right there. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, calm down. Like, he's fine. He's okay. Like, I'm trying to calm the whole situation down. The car leaves. I'm like, see, he's fine. Say thank you. Like, he's like, thank you. And we go in, no line. I'm like, look, it was perfect. Everything was meant to be. Like, the whole scenario, like, we would have missed it if he would have just went into that, got emotional, was trying to people please, etc. And it's like, be calm, So there's so many different ways because we haven't even touched on the whole toxic feminine side, right? Because that's the same thing. Like you could be overly emotional and out of control, and that's too bad, or you can be more into your calm, into your peace, into your centered, and to your divine feminine. So there's just two aspects of that as well, and we're talking about all of it,
Oh
just
yeah, I mean on the
what
feminine
it
side,
means.
I mean I think the reason the overly feminine or toxic femininity doesn't get brought up as much is just because of the male dominance of society and what has transpired because of it. Like toxic femininity hasn't really caused the type of damage that I feel toxic masculinity has, but it is a thing. You know what I'm saying? For sure. I mean, I feel like when you look at the manipulation that people utilize emotionally, specifically in relationships, like even like narcissism and things like that. I mean, are very feminine based because a lot of the times they're manipulating emotions, which I guess manipulation would be a masculine thing, but what they're using to
Not
do it is
really.
more of a. You don't think so?
Nah, I feel
Because
like
it's
that's
kind of a
like the dark
control aspect,
feminine.
right? Oh yeah. But
Mm,
the reason I think is because like when you're talking about manipulating, you're technically taking control of something. You know,
true.
you know what I mean? So I guess it has maybe blends of both.
Mm-hmm.
But it is dealing with the emotional, the true emotions and whatnot. But regardless, yeah, they both look, understanding the balance is going to help both sides at the end of the day. I just think the education of it. But
Well,
let's, can we dive into like just for to kind of keep it elementary, just for like maybe a minute or two, like what are some behaviors or characteristics of the feminine versus the masculine? You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
crying, that's we would consider that feminine. But when people say that, and I remember talking about this on an old podcast I had, people automatically associated, well, men cry too. Yeah, and men have femininity too. You know what I'm saying?
And it's okay for men to
Yes,
cry.
but it is an aspect of feminine energy. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, other things,
That's just like saying, spring and summer. That's male energy versus fall and winter. Fall and winter is more feminine energy. You know, if you want to, between hot and cold, you have the cold winter, and that's feminine energy. You have the hot sun, right?
yeah,
That's
like
that's
nurturing
masculine energy.
nurturing is feminine, right? It makes me feel good, right? Um, providing safety, well, there's a word for that, it slips my mind, but providing safety is also comforting,
security.
but it's security, yeah, thank you, is more of a masculine
Masculine.
trait, right?
Yeah,
Because
shit.
security is like protection.
Hey, look, we go to the body chemical size. Acids are masculine and alkaline is feminine. Just is what
The
it
Mm-hmm.
sun
is.
is masculine, the moon is feminine.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt, no doubt. But the other
I
things
mean,
like dancing, for instance, right? Like how many guys are comfortable just dancing?
right,
Just
moving your
walk into a
body
place.
around.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like they gotta go through about 5 or 6 different like mental check marks just to get themselves to dance at a fucking wedding or something. You know what I'm
Or
saying? Whereas a
drink or
girl,
something. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Whereas as somebody who's, very in touch with their feminine side is just shit. I hear the music, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
because of patriarchy and all these things, like all these walls have been put up. Men don't do that. Men don't act like that. Yeah, it's funny when you truly look at it.
Right. But that's why if you teach them from the time they're young, about the whole regulation, like the emotional scale. I just did a meditation for kids that was teaching them about their emotional scale and what that means, what that looks like on a 1 to 10, and how you feel and how you can change that, and how you can move the number around and get into a more into a higher state, I should say, in that scale. And as long as they understand those emotions, then they're able to use that later in life and be in control of their emotions. That's really what it's comes down to. Like you said, like control would be the masculine, right? So being in control of your emotions, the feminine side. So this the masculine and the feminine being balanced right there, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, bro, it's like you're literally as a dude handcuffing yourself. Like you're
Yeah.
locking yourself in a prison when you think that you need to stay away from your emotions and only perform action not understanding or realizing that the whole reason why you're taking this action is because of that emotion. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's like, who are you if you heal that emotion? And that's some scary shit, man. Like a lot of dudes have put a lot of energy into some shit for the wrong reasons or for a misconstrued reason. And you put some years into it, it's hard to let go, man.
Yeah.
That's why we have what is it? Men's Mental Health Month. Is that this right now, right?
Yes, June.
Because
Oh, it's men. It's only men's. I
While
didn't
they
know
while they
yeah,
say no kings, how
ironic.
ironic is that? No
Um,
kings.
there's always a symbolism behind it. We are our own kings and queens. That's our sovereignty. That's when we reach the top, when we've become enlightened. And so by saying that, it's like contradicting what we can become. It's kind of like a spell. There's always a spell.
Yeah, and just like a
We
king,
can't breathe. You know.
if you ever, I make fun of myself a lot in this relationship because of how stupid I used to be, but and still am in many ways. But like I told her the other day, I'm like, bro, every time I talk shit about how you affect me or how you not doing something is preventing me, I might as well just talk about how weak and fragile I am because that's essentially what I'm doing, right? Like, do you feel me on that, RL? Like,
Mm-hmm.
understand that
Unless
as
we're
a
having a
man,
conversation
yeah,
about it.
if you're sharing your emotions, that's different. But if you're legitimately getting mad at your woman because she prevents you from doing something, or it's her fault, or any of these claims that you're making, I
Right.
guarantee you she's hearing you and going, okay, like you're not that's toxic masculinity, right?
Right.
Because you're not
Right.
representing you're not being a king. A king's not going to whimper over some bullshit. He's going to take responsibility and fix it.
Facts. Facts. Excuse me.
So
Sorry.
resting would be female. Taking action would be, when what happens when we don't rest? We get sick because we need rest in our lives. What happens when we don't get enough sleep? You know, like all these things that are supposed to balance us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yes.
shout out to toxic feminine women, man, because I feel bad for them because like they were put in that position. They didn't really know. I mean, everybody's responsible for their own reality, but I think you know where I'm going with that. It's just that like as a toxic and when you're a toxic feminine person, you ain't got nothing to do, man. Like you got to be the man. If I'm a single woman and I'm raising a
Yeah.
son, right? But I would say don't forget your feminism because when the opportunity becomes for you to be feminine, take advantage of that shit and try not to be fearful, right? Because when you're raising a son or you're a single mom, like you and your masculine a lot, man. When the time to become feminine, like
Can I
take advantage of that
translate
shit,
translate that into
please.
surrender,
Thank you. Surrender.
forgiveness, acceptance, flowing?
Open
Because
yourself.
right, because a lot of times you're so used to taking control and you're doing it all that when the masculine does come and you're not flowing and you're just like, I got this, you're not allowing, you're not surrendering.
Yeah.
So that's that part that's difficult when you've been in that mode for a very long time. So it's just a good reminder.
Yeah. I mean, we're products of our experiences, and there's just been so. I mean, obviously, there's been a lot of women that have been put in some tough situations to where they got to play all roles. That they put up these walls and these boundaries that, when it's time, it's very tough to bring them down. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just so used to
And it's brought down in
playing every
generations.
position. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I wanna say this one more thing. Like men, all my men listening to this, like it is our responsibility to allow the feminine to express itself the way it's meant to be expressed. It has been demonized, it has been shit on. A woman's sexuality is not your problem if you can't control yourself. That is a sign that you got some work to do, right? Like
Yeah.
we should honor femininity, we should honor sexuality, we should be able to control our thoughts, we should only have eyes for our woman, we should not be doing all the things that we're doing and then going home and expecting to be treated like a king, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the ownership is on us. Like I used to think for a long time that women were the ones that needed to step in and take their femininity back. Nah, that's not my belief. My belief is that we as men must step into our masculine. And as we do, our women will step into their rightful role as well. But it's on us. So if you're a man and you need to hear that, please take that because I promise you, and 28 years of marriage here will hopefully back me up on this. Like shit will get better. The feminine energy around you flowing freely will amplify your masculinity.
For sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. I will add to that and say, on the other end of it, to my fellows out there who are stuck in your masculinity and don't want to open up to your feminine side, like open yourself up because there's beauty on that side, man. Like you don't even understand the complete being you can be until you understand your feminine side and tap into it because like we talked about, it's the creative aspect, right? Like, tapping into that is gonna, level up, right? Help you level up and just become a more rounded version. And then that version of yourself, is going to translate to your relationship ultimately, because they're going to get the best balanced version of you instead of just one aspect of you. So good shit.
That's good advice. I think some baby steps they can take, to open that up because sometimes people don't want to take that jump. Anything on the right brain is going to open up to that feminine side. So that's like listening to music. If it's creating music, if it's you like beats, you like putting that together, do that. You're basically stirring up your creative side. You're stirring up that feminine side. If you like singing, if you like expressing yourself, writing, think drawing, artsy stuff, start there, because that's a gateway basically to that balance, to just fine tuning yourself so
Yeah.
that you're not, what's the word? Distorted.
Distorted.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you this: like, how many guys? I shouldn't say just guys. It's women too, but this is kind of with us two fellas being the hosts here. How many guys are comfortable just singing some Luther Vandross in their car with other people with them? You know what I'm saying? This guy
I
too.
play
You know what
Luther
I'm saying?
Vandross at the fucking gym, bro.
Okay, okay. That's what I'm saying. But how many do, nah, man, I got to have some. I need some DMX on, you know what I'm saying? I need to
Look,
get,
look, I'm naturally more masculine. We already talked about that, right? Like
right,
I'm
right.
I'm astrologically natal chart rise. Leo, is a masculine sign. I got my moon in Gemini. That's masculine. I got 5 planets in Libra, air sign, masculine. Okay. I'm very masculine. Okay. But we're at the gym and he's listening to some songs that are like soft,
Bro, I'm about,
romantic
I'm about to
music.
hit a fucking back squat to never too much, never too much, never too
Yeah.
much. And
I'm
I'm
like,
digging it.
how do you work out to this shit? And I'm sitting here like, where's my deep shit? Like I'm like, I need some Miami bass. I need some like something going, like
Bro.
the DMX, you said it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
where my hood? Like something,
Yeah.
like, but that I was like, I
Well,
can't work out. I can't switch it.
Yo, real talk. I'm the same. Like I'm the same way. I throw on my soul and R&B playlist anytime I'm working out, bro. I
bro,
can't work out
I
to the
guess I
hard
need that
shit. That's just
masculine
not
shit.
my
I need the
style.
masculine
bro, I
shit.
hit another gear one day when Maxwell came on. That motherfucker started whatever,
Yeah,
that song,
yeah.
the whatever
Oh
it
my
was. And I'm
god.
like,
Pretty
oh
wings or
shit.
some shit.
Yeah, Pretty Wings. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I'm
dude.
telling you, you tap in a whole different level when you put on them
Fuck,
slow
right?
jams, bro.
Bro, it was funny. Like, and I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I'm like, yo, shit, I gotta put something on for her. And then I put something on, and then fucking Lost Boys comes on, Renee, and
Yeah, it's a good
she's
song.
nodding her head and she's getting
That's my
into them. Like, I
song.
said, all right,
Yeah, it's a
cool,
good
cool,
ass
we
song.
good. But I mean, yeah, I can rock to Renee, but yeah, slow R&B in a
Yeah, but
listening
I mean,
session, ain't nothing
I
beat that
mean,
shit.
how dudes like the average dude just doesn't would not open themselves up like that. You know what I mean? They just got them walls up. Nah, man, I ain't finna sing in front of no broad dog. That ain't what I
Bro,
do.
shout out to Brian. He would never listen to this, but if you do, shout out to Brian. He's this like bald, big, burly dude,
Yeah.
and he walks into the gym one day and some shit like that is on. Right, I think like Jodeci's on or something. And he starts he always dances to shit, but he comes in and he starts dancing to it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, Brian, man, somebody walks up into this gym with me and you listening to Jodeci, at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, they might think something, bro. He goes, nah, man, leave it, I'm good. And
That's
and
funny.
he danced the whole time, but it was cool because again, big burly dude, strong as fuck, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
just he's like, it's good, I'm good, we good.
yeah, man. So tap into that feminine.
Good talk.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So what we got next week, Keith?
Man, I knew you were gonna ask me that. I think it's the journey of consciousness,
Oh shit! Damn,
the
bro, you taking me
difficulty
so
of
deep,
it.
dog.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, we've touched on it. I think just about every episode. We're just gonna do it. Nice little
The
overall. I think that's our
journey
tenth,
of
right? It's
conscious.
our
Oh
tenth
shit! I
episode.
got a lot of. Is it 10? No, it's not 10.
I believe it is, man.
That's so cool.
10? Oh
I
wow.
think so.
Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I mean, we never introduced you officially.
We don't
though.
introduce anybody though. I don't think people even know who we are yet.
Nah, we just start talking. We just start talking. We're
Like these just two dudes. They're
Just two dudes.
cartoons. I listen to them. That's
she's
all.
a metaphysical doctor, right?
Yeah.
If you ask her what she does, she says everything, which I can back that up. She's
yeah.
good at everything. Does a little bit of
I'll
everything.
third that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we did a masculine. We're like, yo, we're gonna do masculine and feminine. I'm like, yo, you gotta come on. You like the representation. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
understand it
thank
from
you.
both sides. Like you bring in that not esoteric knowledge and shit.
Yeah, I think this episode would have been about 22 minutes if you didn't jump on. So thank you.
Yeah.
We would have got
Like,
our points across.
How
and
you
been
gonna
like,
talk about
all right.
masculine and feminine with two masculine dudes?
But we're pretty feminine as we.
But we're pretty feminine though. You know what I'm saying?
true. You guys would have balanced it out.
Now, if we would have brought Chef on here, the masculine would have tipped completely over. Shout
And
out.
it's funny because he's a Cancer, so it's
He's very emotional. I think some people, not calling out any names here, but just in general, some people don't understand. Like I said, they don't understand the feminine aspects they truly have, because they're just so blinded by, well, masculine, I got to be tough and shit, all that bullshit. So, but anyways. All right. So
it's
journey
a
of the
good subject to
consciousness.
dive
Okay.
into.
Awesome. All right. Shit. We out of here, y'all. Peace and
Thank
love.
you. Peace.
Peace.